Trini Virginia vet is niceness. Boy, boy, hands in the sky, we bring the vibes. Once we reach Virginia vet is niceness. Yeah, boy, boy, they can't deny we bring the vibes. And I don't mean to be bossy, but they can't party like we. One from man so got there, but for sure I treat it. They can't party like we. Don't matter time or day, we can start it anyway. Oh gosh, oh child, feel like you're ready, sweetest woman, woman. How will you? Yeah, yeah. Hey, I don't know. Give me the walk with the walk, yeah. Give me the walk with the walk now. Give me the walk with the walk now. Down. I come for this walk. Sign me up. I come for this walk. Sign me up. I come for this walk. Sign me up. I come for it. Boss lady, I come for this walk. Sign me up. I come for this walk. Sign me up. I come for this walk. I never walk it properly. I wanna sign my signature, cross my T's, cause I have all the requirements that you need. My resume is flawless, suitable, diverse, reliable. If you're hiring, I just...
You are
Swap it.
I feel it the fed, I feel it the party. I feel a good drink, some rum from the morning now. Alcohol flowing up my veins, party calling up my name, and I feel it, oh oh oh. Tell them I feel it, Tell them the carnival session, woman in my hand, maybe so high in my body, sing it, I feel it, oh oh. Sing the thing, man, sing the thing, woman. Ready, brass. Say oh yeah yo, oh yeah yo, say oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. Bim 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 bam bam bam, bim 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 bam bam bam, bim 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 bam bam bim bam bim bam. I feel a good wine, wine on in this party. I want a woman to come up and join me here. Boy, lady, give yourself a chance. Jam me closer as we dance. Oh, gosh, and I feel it, oh, oh, oh. Hey, I feel it, oh, every time we jam, oh, yeah, yo. Every time we wine, maybe so high in my body, I feel it, oh, oh. Feel it, sing the thing, man. Everybody, give me the brass. Say oh yeah yo, oh yeah yo, say oh yeah yeah, oh yeah yeah. Bim 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 bam bam bam, bim 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 bam bam bam, bim bim bam bam bam. Oh gosh, and it's a long time now I drink some rum. Long time now I have some fun. Long time now I feel so nice. This party is paradise. Long time now I drink some rum. Long time now I have some fun. Long time now I feel so nice. This party is paradise. The carnival session. blow the horns now. Sweet as ever. One more time. I was planning to forget Calypso, to go and plant peace in Tobago, but I am afraid I can't make the grade. Every night I lie down in my bed, I hearing a bassman in my head. Bum bum it pum, bum 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 it pum, bum 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 it pum, bum 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 bum. I don't know how this thing gets inside me. Mama every morning is driving me crazy.
Where am I looking? Where am I
Like the
focused?
taking man for a barnyard. Morning and evening, Uncle Farrell gone mad.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Words from the late, great Nelson Mandela. The feature speaker, Mr. Curtis Toussaint, Second Vice President, Ms. Curla Robertson Thomas, Industrial Relations Officer, Ms. Crystal Premdas Chan, Teacher of the Year 2019, Ms. Rhonda Jones, members of the executive of the St. George's District, principals, teachers, good morning. The St. George's District brings to you, our viewers, teachers, friends around Trinidad and Tobago, a packed program that will arouse your interest, grasp your attention, and expose you to long-term investments. I am your mistress of ceremony for today, Betty Ann Daniel. I now invite Ms. Alicia Guevara Mirage, who is a member of the St. George's District Executive Body. She's also a staff representative at her school, Malabar RC Primary. She's also a zone convener for the school's Malabar Government Primary and Arima New Government. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Ms. Alicia Guevara Mirage to do the opening prayer.
Good morning. Let us get ready for the tutor prayer. Almighty God, you are the beginning and end of all things, and the source of everything that we have and everything that we are. We thank you for having allowed us to be members of the teaching profession and for entrusting to us the education of our young people. We recognize the greatness of our vocation as well as the serious responsibility placed on our shoulders. And while always mindful of our own limitations, we promise you, O God, always to strive to improve our skills with which you have endowed us. Strengthen us when our ideals seem to be falling or when we tend to look at things in a negative way. Help us, O God, to be true examples in deed as well as in word to our students and to have a special care for those whose family life is defective or non-existent. Bless our association and give all our officers and members joy in the work of education. Help us finally, O God, to be true friends to our fellow teachers, and grant, when you call us out of this world, we may come to you to receive the eternal reward which, in your infinite mercy, you have prepared for us.
I now invite you to remain standing. Teachers at home, please stand for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, and this will be played by Mr. Tristan Macano, a pan soloist. your seats. I now invite a long-standing member of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association. This young lady, as we like to put it, her career in tutor, she is involved as, has been involved as a staff representative from 2000 to 2015, the district secretary 2016 and 2017, and also 2018 and 2019, district assistant secretary 2010 and 2011, district field officer from 2017 to present, zonal convener from 2000 to present. She's also a member of the Central Executive from 2018 to present, alternate to Central Executive 2016 to 2018, General Council member from 2015 to present, and Conference of Delegate member 2001 to present. I would like to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the St. George East District, Miss Roxanne Romeo Valentine, to bring the welcome.
Thank you very much, Betty, and good morning to all. It's Betty Ann Daniel, Mistress of Ceremonies for this morning's event. Featured speaker, Mr. Curtis Toussaint. Second Vice President, Ms. Curla Robertson Thomas. Industrial Relations Officer, Ms. Crystal Premdas Chan. Teacher of the Year 2019, Ms. Rhonda Jones. Members of the Executive of the St. George East District, principals, teachers, well-wishers, good morning. The theme for this year's district convention, Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery, recognizes the creative ways in which teachers have navigated the teaching and learning challenges presented by the COVID-19 virus to ensure that our students receive quality education. The theme for the district convention is consistent with UNESCO's theme for World Teachers' Day and unites educators globally under a common message, the value of teachers and the teaching profession. Parents certainly would have understood the difficult task that teachers face daily and would have definitely come to value teachers highly as parents struggled with the responsibility of educating their own children when schools shut their doors to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and homes became classrooms. I applaud all teachers for our commitment to the task of educating children in these historic COVID-19 times. Teaching will forever be changed by this experience. I look forward to our feature speaker, Mr. Curtis Toussaint's perspective on the theme. I welcome all participants to the St. George East District Convention, and I sincerely hope that the program will be a memorable, enjoyable one for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Nyan Gadsby Dolly, is not present with us this morning, but she has sent her greetings. So we would now play the greetings for the members.
Mrs. Antonia Tegari-Freitas, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association and other members of the Executive of TUTA, fellow speakers, teachers, non-teaching staff, and specially invited guests. A very pleasant good day to you, and thank you for the opportunity to bring greetings at your annual convention under the theme, Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. It is indeed apt, given the challenges experienced in education as a direct result of the pandemic. While we all acknowledge that challenges existed in the education sector before March 2020, certainly the pandemic has presented a slew of new challenges, calling for a paradigm shift, not only in how we as educators deliver, but administration of education at this time. The Ministry of Education is cognizant of the many challenges faced by the teaching fraternity and will continue to be open to continued dialogue on finding the best solutions for Trinidad and Tobago as we continue to work together to mitigate the challenges that have affected every sector. We have students, teachers, and parents who are dealing with COVID loss, with job loss, with learning loss, so many challenges. The impact of all of this extends into the education sector, and our teachers, as the point of the education sphere, are grappling with many challenges every day. Teachers have required support to be able to deal with these circumstances. Not only mental health, as is offered to them through the Employee Assistance Program, but also in upskilling to be easily and confidently able to navigate the online platforms which have become their classrooms, and the provision of tools to do so. As of August 2021, 167 varying online courses have been hosted by the Ministry of Education to facilitate training of teachers across primary, secondary, and our special schools. And our teachers, almost all of them, have grasped these opportunities with both hands. Webinars have been provided to train and support educators, inclusive of teachers, principals, vice principals, heads of departments, and senior teachers. And collaborations have been established to facilitate the training of 1,219 TVET educators in online methodology. The demand for training outstrips the supply, and that's a good thing. But the Ministry of Education remains resolute in its thrust to continuously provide training and professional development to teachers. Just last week, 100 primary school teachers from Trinidad and Tobago commenced the 9-month Regional Training Diploma Program titled Digital Education and Distance Learning Pedagogies in the Caribbean. This program is a wonderful opportunity, and it comes to us through a collaboration among the Tampere University of Applied Sciences in Finland, the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training of Barbados, the Inter-American Development Bank, and it is coordinated locally by our very own Teacher Education, Performance and Professional Development Division of the Ministry of Education in Trinidad and Tobago. Recently, another cohort of teachers completed their training in Blackboard, with over 1,700 teachers already accessing this UNESCO training. The Ministry's Teacher Education, Performance and Professional Development Division continues to source, develop and provide training to this nation's teachers in areas needed to expand and deepen their digital and pedagogical competencies. And different modes of applied digital pedagogy, whether online, hybrid, and in-person classroom, that type of training is provided because the future of education is blended. Online is here to stay. While the path to transformation in the education system is fraught with many challenges, it is not unattainable. Through careful and collaborative planning, agility in execution, dedicated funding, and continued dialogue with all education stakeholders, we can be assured that not only will the education system recover from the challenges of the pandemic, but it will provide the digital ecosystem and the skilled citizens to advance this nation's development agenda. And let me use the words of one of Tutor's own vice presidents when we say, from this challenge, we will build back better. I wish to thank the President and the Executive for the opportunity to share these brief remarks with you, and I wish you, as always, a successful convention. God bless you.
Thank you, Minister Nyan Gadsby Dolly. We will now have a message from the President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Ms. Antonia Tika de Freitas. She, too, is not here with us this morning in the room, but has sent her greetings.
Comrades, I welcome you to District Conventions 2021. These conventions are occasions organized by the association to allow all education professionals the opportunity to engage in professional discourse on matters of interest. This is the second year that the conventions are being done virtually due to circumstances arising out of the pandemic. I sincerely hope that while we are participating comfortably from our homes, we will be giving the activity our undivided attention. At the start of this week, as Tutor launched the Month of the Teacher, I shared some elements from the 16th meeting of Education International's research network on the status of teachers and the teaching profession. I would just want to recap those here. Firstly, pay is low. Conditions are deteriorating. Infrastructure to support teaching and learning is not a priority for government investment. Second, there is a lack of respect evident in the ways teachers and teaching are represented by governments and elements of the mass media and society. Thirdly, work has intensified, and many unions report concerns for their members' well-being due to the stress of a more complex job, which is compounded by more and more being expected of teachers. Finally, the precarious nature of education could very well see higher rates of attrition, which will stymie the education recovery process. And therefore, at this time, I take the opportunity on behalf of the executive of Tutor to say thank you. Thank you to all our members, all educators, at all levels, in all sectors, for the job you have done in supporting our students and our nation. Education recovery must be more than simply putting students back into schools and trying to pick up from where we left off before the pandemic hit. At the heart of education recovery, at the heart of learning recovery, must also be a commitment to support education professionals, not only with the necessary resources and tools and infrastructure, but also by keeping morale high. We all know that both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation boosts productivity. Fix our business. Fix the increments that have been owed to persons for as many as 10 years. Fix the upgrades of people awaiting permanent appointments for 15 years. Fix the medicals that people need to get their permanent appointments. Fix the transfers. Fix the ECCE teachers and bring them onto the system. Fix the situation at COSTAT and establish the faculty senate so that the college can produce the high quality of education learning that we desire. Fix all of these things, and the nation will have motivated educators. Treat us with respect and dignity, and pay us our just wages. Do not leave us living on wages from 2014, and the employer will then have motivated employees. Give us safe school buildings, school plants where there's no mold, school plants that are not leaking and crumbling. Give us school facilities where all areas of the school have a proper electrical supply and appropriate internet bandwidth throughout. Give us safe school facilities where social distancing can be correctly applied and there will be willing and healthy employees. Do not, I say to the government, do not use us as pawns in the vaccination game. Do not deny our students equity of access to education. Are we, as educators of Trinidad and Tobago, expected to deviate from the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child? Or are we expected to deviate from the Convention Against Discrimination in Education? Is that what's expected of us? Are these policies really about equal and equitable education for all? As a union, Tutor believes that education professionals must be at the heart of education recovery. Where will we begin? What will be our guide? What will we discuss? Permit me then to share two projects that have been properly detailed for action by unions and can provide us with the roadmap that we need. Firstly, is an auditing educational equity project in light of the COVID-19 pandemic established by Education International. As a rationale for this project, EI suggests equity audits are systematic assessments of levels of inequity and the extent to which they are exacerbated by existing policy priorities. Lack of equity is one of the most pernicious barriers to achieving the universal human right to quality education. EI continues, as inequities deepen, as inequalities are made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic, additional resources and support for education staff and institutions are urgently needed to address them. Education unions, tutor included, all of us included, are therefore duty-bound to protect and advance the right to education and continuously do so. In this so-called new normal triggered by the pandemic, unions' advocacy efforts become all the more important. And we look forward, colleagues, to your support and your input in that advocacy. The second project is a CARICOM OECS initiative titled Let's Reap, Learning, Recovery and Enhancement Program for Caribbean Schools. And this is a project, indigenous in nature, that seeks to treat with learning recovery, meeting the specific challenges and identifying specific goals in our Caribbean schools. The premise of this project is that schools cannot function in isolation, but rather need to operate within principles of interconnectivity, intersubjectivity, and interoperability. This project, which our local Ministry of Education, as well as the Caribbean Union of Teachers, has found valuable, requires not only the plan for the goals and the objectives, but also a strong disposition, attitude, attitudes and skills for communication, collaboration, problem solving, and networking as necessary for this project to work. Tutor embraces this project, and I encourage all of you, go online, seek out the projects, and let us start hearing your contributions about how we can make these initiatives work in our schools at all levels as we seek to promote education recovery. We do not believe it must be returned to schools at all cost and pick up from where we left off before the pandemic hit. We believe that there are many situations that have to be addressed, that Tutor and its members must address in order for our country's education system to recover and for all students to be able to access quality public education. As I close, I encourage you, comrades, as you engage in professional discourse today, let it not be a singular activity where you listen today, you close the laptop, you exit the meeting, and you walk away. Rather, let today be the start of your orientation into what it will take, what our roles would be in education recovery in this country. We all have a part to play. Now, more than ever, your union needs your support and your input. Now, more than ever, we need to be united as professionals in the cause of recovery and national development. What we as Tutor do over the next few months to facilitate and support education recovery will, in the long run, support our nation and its development. This is our future. Let us make sure we are at the heart of education recovery. I extend best wishes to all educators. I say thank you for your contributions and do enjoy your district conventions.
Thank you, Madam President of Tutor, for that invigorating message. And as we, Tutor, continue to work towards the rights and welfare of all teachers throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Members, viewers from at home, before we continue with the program, I would just like to let you know that we have an email address set up where you can submit your questions on this morning's event. So we have our feature speaker. As introduced earlier, we have our second vice president and our IR officer present with us. So I am going to call the email address for you, and you can copy and send your questions accordingly. So this is the email address. S as in snake, I as in ink, N as in net, Q as in quick, U as in under, A as in alpha, 76@gmail.com. SINQUA 76@gmail.com. So send your questions in. We will now have a cultural capsule. This is a poem, and it is done by Mr. Barry Design. He is a teacher of the St. Augustine South Government Primary School. He's also a member of the DSRE. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Mr. Design saying the poem, I See You.
Hello there. It's been a while since we last spoke. You probably haven't even noticed me here, but I want you to know that I see you. I see you every day, all the time, everywhere. When you wake up on mornings, still weary because you need more sleep, I see you. When you force yourself up because of your dedication to your charges, I see you. I see when your coffee jolts your senses and perk you up so you feel so bold. But I also see those times when you just don't want to get out of bed to face the world. You may not have thought of me much in the past year or two, but in my mind's eye, I always see you. When you're up late searching for YouTube content, preparing extra work for that unappreciative student, uploading information into Google Classroom or Edmodo, when you think no one notices, I see you. When you are frustrated trying to grade those incomplete, incomprehensible, undecipherable student assignments, I see you. During the day, when you're Zooming, exasperated from constantly asking, are you there? Students, please turn on your cameras. Hello, anybody there? I hear you. Believe me, I feel for you as you smile through your rage when those without expertise dictate how you should gauge your charges as though you're a novice just out of school when in reality you know so much. They don't know what I know. You're no fool. And when you dress in your best, I feel your disappointment from the hovering parents who uncaringly come in. Is that a robe she's wearing? I hear she's a little crazy. Why is she only quarreling? I find she too lazy. When you feel downtrodden, unappreciated, unoppressed, uncared for, incapacitated, despondent, and hopeless, should you feel alone, lost, overwhelmed, or confused, and you know we're all in this together, it's merely a ruse. When your spouse can't understand or don't even care to know, or your boss and your colleagues won't even show regard for your turmoil, your challenge, your fight, lift your head high, you're still in my sight. Should dark clouds overshadow you and you feel invisible, befuddled and bewildered, and into your darkness you stumble, when whirlwinds threaten to blow out your existence, I see you, I have you, maintain your resistance. Don't be discouraged, but stand strong, stand fast. The tempest is raging, but billows don't last. My love is eternal, invincible and true. You will be triumphant because I see you.
Reality, as it hits most of us, teachers going through this pandemic, I see you. Thank you very much, Mr. Barry Dezine. I now invite our 2019 Teacher of the Year, Ms. Rhonda Jones, to introduce our feature speaker for this convention. Ms. Jones.
Feature speaker, Curtis Toussaint. Second Vice President, Ms. Curla Robertson Thomas. Industrial Relations Officer, Ms. Crystal Primdas Chan. Teacher of the Year, Rhonda Jones. Members of the Executive of St. George East District, principals, teachers, well-wishers, good morning. According to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. And our theme is clear on teachers being at the heart of education recovery. So this morning, my task is one, that I'm going to just introduce a dynamic speaker. Professional summary. Management professional with 12 years of experience in the Caribbean and Latin American region. Member of the National Community Recovery Committee 2020. Project implementation partner for multinational and foreign agencies since 2015. Conference speaker, Jamaica Employers Federation 2018. Author, What Nobody Says About WORK, Work, 2018. Corporate Citizenship, Corporate Recovery, Responsibility, Practitioner, Stakeholder Specialist, Training and Development Facilitator. Skills in strategic corporate responsibility, stakeholder engagement, critical thinking, negotiation, proposal writing, policy design, training and development, and the list goes on. Technology, skills in technology, Aptivos CRM, HubSpot CRM, Microsoft SharePoint, Microsoft Office Suite, and so many others in that field. Oh Lord, my device is not moving. Why is that? Just a minute. Technology, or maybe I need to call him. Just a second. All right. Sorry, I must. So it's quite intensive. Professional experience, National Community Recovery Committee, Strategic Planning Officer, Management multi-stakeholder collaboration with corporate and state organizations. Activities include community engagement and government relations, develop stakeholder engagement policies. It's quite extensive. Education, National Training Agency, Train the Trainer, Adult Life Skill Education, Angela Ruskin University, Lord Ascaf Graduate School of Business, Master of Business Administration, 2017, Leadership and Innovation, and where he covered courses like marketing, design and innovation, organizational development, strategic management, managing transformation, leadership, project development. And I know it's quite extensive, and it's, for me to give you everything, I know we will be here until tomorrow. So I would love to introduce at this time our featured speaker, Mr. Curtis Toucey. Let's welcome him lustily.
Hi, good morning. Hi, I don't know if you could hear me, but I'm not hearing any audio from your end. Great, thank you. So again, pleasant good morning, and it is really a pleasure for me to have this responsibility to, just share a few thoughts as we look at your theme, teachers at the heart of education recovery. When I first got the theme, I looked at the whole idea of teachers being the heart of education recovery. And even in looking at this morning's program, you use a double heart to represent the word heart in your theme. And I felt that was very appropriate, because even in my preparation, I considered teachers and teachers being the heart from two perspectives. One, the heart being figurative, as we talk about, the whole idea of love and teachers, their love and passion and commitment for students and for education and learning, but also looking at the heart in its truest sense as a vital organ for the survival of a body. And from either one of those perspectives, teachers at the heart of education recovery is a serious matter. It is one that I think that the tutor is aptly looking at that, and it is quite appropriate at this time. One of the things that I was guided by, however, is obviously COVID, but not from the standpoint of saying that the recovery of education or the recovery effort that teachers are now being asked to play a role in is exclusively related to COVID. I do not think that teachers being at the heart of education recovery deals exclusively with recovering from COVID-19. Because clearly, issues surrounding education did not begin with COVID, and if ever there was a day that COVID would end, it will not end with those conditions. So then what can I say to you as a teacher, or say to teachers in general, about their role in being the heart of education recovery? What I'd like to call my presentation today, if I wanted to give it a title, I would say that teachers are required to try. T-R-Y, try. So try in itself is a word that we use very often in dealing with young people. I'm sure teachers use it with students, and even as a parent, I used it with my own children. When they would have a task in front of them and they are, wondering how are they going to approach it, and sometimes all we can offer is saying, well, just try. Try. Because you want to see them take that first step and make a valiant effort in terms of trying to execute a skill or demonstrate competence in a skill. You want to see them try. And so from that perspective, it is a word that we're all familiar with. But I would like to use the word try as a very loose acronym. Because if we think about the whole idea of COVID and what has transpired in education or what has transpired in the world, we could look at the periods that we've been dealing with COVID and say that try means the roughest year. And I know many teachers, many students, and more so parents could attest to this, that the past experience with education and trying to deliver education with COVID, it has been a rough year. And so no one will fault you if you say that TRY for you means the roughest year. But there's something else that we could use this acronym to talk about. We could talk about TRY being the revealed you. The revealed you. As you now look at your theme and the role that you're asked to play in terms of education recovery, what were some of the things that this past year or your years in education revealed to you about yourself? For some, it might be we thought that we were very much on top of technology. And that's because we were using it periodically, and more so, we were consumers of technology and not necessarily required to be producing while using technology. So what did that whole scenario reveal about yourself and your level of skill? There's another way that we could look at try. We could say that TRY now means the refined you. We're 1 year into the pandemic. We're 1 year into virtual blended learning, all the different types of learnings that we would have attempted or that would have been pursued during this period. How did that help refine our processes? How did that help us refine our approaches to education? But there's another TRY that I think is aptly important, particularly when we consider that education and the recovery of education goes beyond, it goes way beyond COVID, there were situations and scenarios in education that you would have encountered as a teacher, that parents have encountered, that students have encountered, that didn't start in 2020. But for some reason or by some mechanism, we were able to continue soldiering on and getting things done. And what I like to think about that is, that reveals the resilient you. TRY, the resilient you. And this is where I want to spend the rest of my time talking about the resilient you. What does that look like? What does the resilient teacher look like? What is the resilient teacher who is now finding themselves at the heart of education recovery? What does that look like? You see, when we think about resilience, I like to say it very simply like this. Think about a spring which we may compress or stretch, but whether you compress it or you stretch it, it returns to its almost original form. Think about a rubber band. We stretch it, and while there will be some change in the shape depending on how long it has been stretched, the thing is, it comes back almost to its original form. And so I want us to think about resilience, or to talk about resilience from that standpoint. Not so much that we are trying to return to some bygone era of education, because in terms of recovery, we are thinking about recovery as a way forward, not a way to go back. But recovery from the standpoint of what will education look like, or what would a recovered education look like with teachers at the heart of it. And for me, I would like to offer that means that our education system, that the way that we deliver education, that the teachers, the students, everybody involved in education, we would have developed a certain level of resilience. Meaning that even though we've been stretched, we've been pulled, we've been pushed, and we've adjusted, we can find ourselves centered again. We could find ourselves ready to go forward and execute the responsibilities that are before us. You see, in part of my journey recently, I'll say as far back as 2017, was looking at the whole area of productivity. And productivity for us, you know, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the things that we often say of ourselves. We are not productive. You go to different agencies or offices and organizations, and you just get a sense that somebody is not trying to give you their best. And so, you know, productivity has been one of the areas that I've focused on, but not just simply to say that we have a productivity problem. I wanted to find a solution. In looking for this solution, there's a model that was developed called the WORK model, W-O-R-K, where W speaks to warfare, O, organized effort, R, resilience, and K, knowledge. And it is from this model for productivity, I want to extract R as resilience. A resilient education system is one that is able to flex, adjust, improve, and also stand the test of time. The only way that that can be achieved is by building the resilience of the individuals that are responsible in the education system, building the resilience of teachers. How do we help teachers return to that sense of normalcy? Or one of the phrases that we've been throwing around, how do we establish a new normalcy? And I'm not talking about the things that we do, you know, whether vaccinated or unvaccinated. I'm bringing it down to the very individual level, to the granular level. What does a resilient teacher look like? What does that look like? And what are the implications for our personal resilience and our role in education recovery? One of the things I like to share when I talk to audiences about developing their own personal resilience is always having a very good concept of who we are and what we are aiming to do. And so as we look at recovery and we look at what we are expected to do and how we are expected to perform, and remember, this is the resilient you, there are a couple of things that I would like to offer. One, we must have a strategy. The resilient you is one that understands what is lying ahead of them, even if it is to say, I know that there's uncertainty, so I have to be even better at planning. And that is one of the strengths of being strategic. So what will be your strategy for ensuring that you become more resilient? How are you being more engaged? How are you engaging with the outside world, and when I talk about the outside world, how are we perceiving and how is our worldview being changed in terms of what we expect education to do? So we look at the strategic side. And in looking at the strategic side, one of the other things we must look at is how do we organize our efforts? You see, and I like this perfect example, very simply. Tutor as an organization is one way that the efforts of teachers in bringing change or being part of the change is being organized. You see, because you have a central representing unit that now speaks to your issues, and that can organize your effort to bring about the changes that we need for an education recovery. Then we talk about knowledge. What is it that we now need to know that we were not necessarily required to know previously? Is it technology? Is it the ability to now create learning material using technology? Because we are now in a totally different environment. That's new knowledge that we need to pursue and we need to gain. Then there's another level of knowledge that a lot of us would have had to encounter. I'm not sure how well we all may have dealt with it, but another level at which we must encounter knowledge or consider knowledge as a component for being the heart of education recovery is knowledge of yourself. Knowledge of self, very critical to being at the heart of education recovery. One of the things that defines resilient people is understanding your breaking point. One of the things that defines resilient people is understanding your breaking point. You see, we can be fooled into thinking that a resilient person is one who can take on any challenge, regardless of the circumstances, and come out on top. And in a perfect world, maybe. But we know we do not exist in a perfect world and in a perfect environment. So knowledge of self, what does that look like if it is we are saying it requires me to be knowledgeable of who I am and understanding my breaking point? It means that at some point in the road to recovery, if you are not able or you feel as though your limits are being pushed, it is quite fine to push back. If on your journey to be the heart of education's recovery requires you to be resilient, one of the key areas that we have to be resilient is knowledge of self. And knowledge of self allows us to push back. It allows us to say no. It allows me to say to anyone, I'm nearing my breaking point. I have to resist. And I don't say this lightly, because I'm not advocating for dereliction of duty. I am not advocating for bad behavior. I am advocating for your self-care, for the preservation of your mind and your mental state. Because a teacher who has reached breaking point needs themselves to be recovered and cannot adequately be part of a recovery effort for education. And so, in summarizing everything that I've said, we know that the past year or two has revealed a lot. It has revealed what the real you is. it has also been the roughest year. It also means that you need to be the resilient you. And in looking at the resilient you, we need to understand we must have a strategy for moving forward at a personal level, at the class level, at the school level, and at the national level. There must be a strategy. This strategy must take into consideration organizing the efforts of the resources and people at our disposal. And the example that I would have given, Tutor, as an organization, is one way the efforts of teachers and individuals and the administration can be organized to bring about the results that we're looking for. But the most important one, and if you do not remember anything else that was shared today, is about knowledge. Knowledge of the task that you're being asked to perform. Do I know? Can I find out? Can I do it? Can I better myself at doing it? That's knowledge from the external in terms of what we execute. But more critically, knowledge of yourself. Understanding when you are approaching your breaking point and what needs to be done to keep producing and keep being effective. So remember, TRY, the real you would have experienced the roughest year, but now as part of or as the heart of education recovery, you need to be the resilient you. Resilience, again, not meaning I am going to accede to every request, but when I am approaching breaking point, I can say, stop, no more. Because we do not want you cannot be a part of the recovery effort if you yourself now require some level of recovery. And so that this morning is my brief presentation. I hope I was clear. I do not believe that there were any audio issues. So I guess I'm handing over to the moderator or chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Curtis Toussaint.
Thank you for having me.
And yes, that's what we are going to take away from your message this morning, from your feature address. Resilience. Knowledge of self. Understand your breaking point. And push back. But teachers, not push back in a bad way, but push back and find your strategies for moving forward. But remember, you can't do it alone. So Tutor is there to get you through. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Toussaint. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will have another cultural capsule, and this is a soca medley. Tristan Macano and Christian Taylor will now do the cultural capsule.
strong. People want to hold me down. That is all I'm proud of me. Realization on my destination. I don't ever want to stay. I had this thing from birth, man don't tell me I'm ready. I had this thing from birth, more than nature beautiful. I got to call this thing, put it on stereo. I want to know everything I am. Matter the days and the fire. Oh, like everything I am. Matter the days and the retire. I was holding on, yes I was holding on. Yeah, I was holding on. My journey. I'm rolling, so I got this thing, whoa. Yeah.
Teachers, we are now to that point in the program where we are going to have discussions on the theme and questions and answers. This morning, leading the question and answer segment is our moderator, a teacher at Bartaria South Secondary School, former vice chairman of the St. George's District, present assistant secretary of the district, a dedicated soldier, passionate about his task as a teacher and a comrade in the union. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you our moderator for this segment, Mr. Kofi Applewhite.
Good morning to those who are physically present and those who have tuned in to our live streaming transformed environment today as we mark our convention. I do trust that you were good students, as some of us were, and took copious notes of the lesson. And I also trust that we were good students prior to today, in that we would have done some reading to further massage the theme and give us a greater sense of understanding as to why we are doing what we are doing. It is my pleasure to moderate this aspect of the program, and we'll be fielding questions and directing them to our second vice president. We have our IRO present as well, and our district field officer. And our feature speaker. Where are the questions? The question is on: who will be held liable for students, teachers becoming infected with COVID-19 at school? I guess Ms. Premdas.
Good morning, all, and thank you so much for being part of your activity this morning. And so I'll seek to address the question. Can you put it back up, please? Okay, so the question is, who will be held liable? The first part of it is that I think liable mightn't be the most appropriate term, but responsible in terms of student-teacher becoming infected with COVID-19 at schools. And it must be first stated that tutor is not in full agreement with the guidelines that was put forward by the Ministry of Education. However, based on those guidelines, there is a procedure that has been put in place should any such occurrence take place with the introduction or the reintroduction of students and teachers back in physical school. So that is the best submission I can give at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Premdas. You are reminded to email your questions to Sun Island Nothing Kwamina Understanding Attention 76 @gmail.com. We'll take your questions from there, and hopefully answer them as satisfactorily as we can. Yes? Next question regarding physical school guidelines for students. How could 3 feet masked for all classes become 3 feet unmasked for lunch? Unmasked requires greater spacing.
So in relation to that, we understand that the Ministry of Education would have liaised with the Ministry of Health in making the decision to reduce the 6 feet to 3 feet within the classroom with masking. During the luncheon period, yes, people will be unmasked to eat and enjoy their meals, but it is not expected that the students will continue to keep their mask off for the entire luncheon period. And yes, it will require teachers, principals, middle managers having to constantly remind some of them to keep remasking after they have eaten or taken a drink from their beverage, as is what is supposed to happen in the general population when one is going to consume anything where they are. So it will require some monitoring and some advice throughout the day.
Thank you, Madam VP. And I just wish to remind us that we want to ensure that our questions are specific to our theme, teachers at the heart of education recovery. That's where we want to massage the topic thoroughly today, so that by the time we would have completed, you would leave with a greater sense of understanding and appreciation as to why we do what we do. And we are also reminded of the words of our Calypsonian, we can make it if we try. Do we have another question? We have 3 questions. Will negotiations conclude soon? What is tutor doing to help teachers in acting positions? What is tutor doing to help teachers waiting for interviews for promotion?
All right, so negotiations are not anywhere near to being concluded since they have not commenced. You heard the pronouncement of the Minister of Finance when he was giving his budget speech, indicating that he has now given permission to the CPO to commence negotiations with all public sector unions. Tutor will have to wait its place to get its schedule for when they are to appear. What teachers can recall is that the CPO had given Tutor the guarantee that he would start doing some of the background work, and we had subcommittees doing so. We had the market survey completed. We had Tutor submitting some of its data to the CPO's office, and they in turn returned some. There are still some positions that have not been factored in as yet because the data was unavailable. That is some of the background work. Negotiation is not going to be a one-day event. It is a series of meetings that will take place and the exchange of data and information. So we still have to wait until we get our written schedule because it's all public sector. We have to see where we will fall. We, of course, will write to find out as when we would be able to start. So the conclusion will have to wait until the commencement, which is supposed to begin in 2022. Tutor continues to do what work it has to do on their end to ensure that we are prepared for when we are called to the table.
Thank you, Madam VP. Teachers are the main stakeholders in education. Why then are our voices not heard? And why are we not an integral part of the decision-making process?
Good question. Tutor can only speak to its members when Tutor has a forum such as this. We have control over this once members attend. Tutor continues to extend to the ministry that we are available to partner with and remind them that it will be best if they would collaborate with the union before rolling out any of their initiatives, so that we too can get from the practitioners in the field the feedback, the evidence, the facts that will have some of these legitimate rollouts rolling smoother. But it is up to the employer to invite, encourage, and to take on board. What you have been seeing is that the association has been indicating
that there is no meaningful consultation, because coming to a meeting one day after you have already developed a guideline document does not really give the union the opportunity to submit what they believe will be the best way for things to roll out. So until the employer does not accept that we are here to partner with to make sure that education happens seamlessly for all involved, then there will be little we can do other than come to the media and constantly have to correct, remind, guide, and cajole our members into doing what we understand to be what is in keeping with their terms and conditions.
Thank you, Madam Second VP. We are
Mr.
reminded.
Moderator, if I could go back to one of the questions
Sure.
about the acting and so on, and what is tutor doing. That's an ongoing issue that tutor has continued to treat with at the level of the ministry, the commission, and the CPO. In fact, we were finally able, the CPO was able to get the ministry in the same room with CPO, tutor, and ministry officials to treat with that. There are a number of factors that prevent or have been stymieing persons who are in acting to get their confirmation or their upgrade, and it requires those three entities that I spoke about. The CPO has asked the ministry to do its part to work harder at having recommendations and so submitted to the Teaching Service Commission, so that with a more rapid availability, these acting positions can become solidified. But it is work that needs to be done on in those departments that have been lacking, but we continue to submit names for people who have submitted them to us, ask for status on what is happening, and to encourage the employer to do what they need to do to ensure that they ease the burden on these teachers and have their acting and their positions ratified as soon as possible.
So, Madam Vice President, is it safe for us to leave here today with the understanding that the union has been resilient in looking after the interests of its members and even those who are non-members of the union?
That will be accurate, Mr. Applewhite, because there are certain things that have not left the agenda with the meetings that we have with the Ministry of Education and at the table with the CPO, and will not leave until we have some manner of seeing that it is really optimal, and that is one of them.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice President. Do we have another question? But that question would have been dealt with already. Has tutor approached HDC, TTMF, or Home Mortgage Bank for special allocations and packages to suit the needs of teachers who would like to acquire a home?
Tutor has engaged the HDC and other private home stakeholders through the Office of the Third Vice President to arrange or have discussions about this. We have not been successful with HDC in particular to allocate specific housing for teachers, as has been done for some of the other unions, especially the protective services, but the discussions continue to happen there. But they have brought on private contractors, and those contractors' information and names have been shared with members of the Central Executive and the General Council. So districts by now should have gotten information on these private entities that are willing to broker mortgages and so for teachers.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. And again, I wish to remind you that our theme is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery, and we want to look at the condition of the heart. One man said the heart of the problem is the problem of the heart, and we want to treat with the heart this morning. And clearly, I am wondering if some of the questions that are coming in are really coming from our members who are actively involved in our district. Because I think if people are involved at the district level, these things would have been massaged sufficiently. And so we would be treating with the root of the problem, the heart. Do we have another question? classroom teachers are now data entry officers. How can this practice not affect teaching, learning activities? And I also wish to remind you that we have our guest speaker on the line as well. So again, he is the heart specialist this morning. So anybody with heart conditions, we'd like to, of course, ensure that the services of our heart specialists are fully employed. IRO, I guess you may want to treat with that question.
With respect to the question before us in terms of class teachers now having that added responsibility of collating and projecting data, is one of the points that we have raised even up to recently with our meetings with the ministry. We have said to them that once there are any variations in a substantive terms and conditions of employment, such discussions has to come about with the recognized majority union and cannot just unilaterally be imposed upon teachers. And so TUTA has been very instrumental and vocal in saying that these introduction of tools to assist with this new method of education has to first be discussed with the RMU, which is TUTA, before imposing on teachers. And yes, I do agree that it's going to take away from the substantive duty of a teacher, and that is the primary purpose of educating students. And that is the type of discussions that the ministry, the government needs to have with TUTA in the best interest of the teachers, the students, and the progress of the education system. So those are some of the discussions we have been having. We are aware of the consequences of such data entry functions.
Yes, thank you, Madam IRO. Do we have any more questions to be fielded? Can the government legally mandate all teachers to take a COVID-19 vaccine in order to work?
If
Yes.
we listen to Her Honor Deborah Thomas Felix, you would understand that it's not as simple as mandating vaccination as a requirement for work for those who are already in a system. And it will take some discussion and so on to get people on board. However, if one is entering, as Her Honor indicated, a job for the first time, it may now be one of the prerequisites. But for those people within the teaching service in particular, which we are speaking about, it will not be a matter of just making sure that mandating you to take the vaccine. It will go in keeping with anything else in terms of you are still required to consult with your medical practitioner and make that decision on your own. If government were to move to do that, it would require them taking this to cabinet and making that a policy decision of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and not just for any specific place of employment.
Thank you. Madam IRO, would you like to make a further comment on that question?
Okay, well, just to add to what my second VP would have said, the only means in which such an action can be mandated is through legislation. Anything else can be constituted as a constitutional breach. So just to solidify what my second VP would have said, any such action can only be mandated through legislation.
Thank you. Do we have another question? Oh, okay, so I guess we should be able to pull in our heart specialist this morning. How can teachers who are the heart of education or who are at the heart of education be expected to recover a failing education system when the hearts are losing heart? I think I would like to hear from the guest speaker, and then maybe somebody else from the head table may wish to comment on that.
All right. So one of the things that we look at, if in even sharing about, where teachers are being at the heart of education recovery, I just want to revisit really briefly another element of the work model that I spoke about. And I share this because, at a tutor convention, and I know that you all are the ones, or you all are the organization that literally goes to war for teachers. And one of the things that I can say is when we conceive what this fight to recover education would look like and how teachers are to get involved, there are three things that I would advise the union, the teachers, anybody who has a fight on their hands that they need to take a look at. And I call it the 3 A's of your fight. One, you want to understand what are the assets that you have or don't have to make you better at what you do. So look at the assets that you currently have, how they can be utilized, are they being fully utilized? And if that is a yes, then what are some of the additional assets that we need to bring to this fight? Both in your fight to deliver quality education virtually or in a COVID reality, as well as your fight to receive the level of respect and parity that teachers and the union want from the Ministry of Education. What are your assets? The second A would be understanding your allies. Who else are you enrolling in this fight? Teachers, as somebody said it in the preamble to their substantive question, teachers are one of the main stakeholders, but they're not the only stakeholder. How have other stakeholders been brought in as allies in the fight to achieve quality education and a recovered education system? So we have the assets, we have the allies, and then you need to also understand the adversary. So the 3 A's of war: assets, allies, adversaries. So even though you're the heart of education and you are the ones that heart of the recovery, you have to understand these 3 things in order to equip yourself to fight for that recovery, or to fight for the recovery to happen in a way that doesn't now injure you. And so even in looking at the adversary, one of the things that, one of the approaches that I find to be useful in a universal sense is the whole idea that the adversary is always impersonal and external. Impersonal and external. So we're never really fighting people. You're fighting ideas, you're fighting systems, you're fighting ideals, you're fighting worldviews. If you understand what that is, if you understand what your adversary's worldview is or how they view the problem, because a lot of times we're dealing with issues where things collide. How does the ministry, how does the minister, how does the executive at the Ministry of Education view this challenge, and where does it differ or where does it intersect with how I view it? If you understand how your adversary sees the problem, you're able to strategize better. One of the other things in terms of being impersonal and external, the fight is always with the outside. The fight is always with the outside. So it's never about teachers fighting tutor. It's never about tutor fighting teachers. And sometimes when we're in a fight and we're not sure who the target is, or we're not sure, let me put it simply, if we're not all shooting in the same direction, people are going to be dying from friendly fire. And so those are the 3 things that I think, in terms of looking at how teachers could be a part of this fight, how tutor could really strategize in pushing, getting that organized effort and getting everybody on board, is by understanding the 3 A's of your fight. Understand what are your assets, what do you have, and what do you need. Understanding your allies. Who else is going to advocate for me? Who else is going to stand alongside the union? Which other union, which other organization is going to stand alongside us and share similar ideals? Because there's strength in numbers. So you want to have allies in this fight. You can't fight without allies. No one country goes into war single-handedly. You have to enroll people who are willing to put themselves on the line for you, for a unified cause. And then understanding the adversary is never personal. The minister will change. People, the education ministry as an organization will be there, and in 20 years, nobody that is currently in that building may be there, but the problems might still exist. So your adversary, you always have to appreciate that they are impersonal. It's not a person. There's some ideals, there's some gaps, things that people don't understand about what you do. And the better you are at knowing who are these people that share differing opinions and understanding those opinions, you could strategize to really be at the heart and be the driving force, not be one that is being pulled along, but to be the driving force behind education recovery. And the key thing, understand the fight. What are your assets? Who are your allies? Understand the adversary.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I don't know if the IR officer, the VP, or the DFO would like to add anything to that.
What we can see is that, as Mr. Tuse said, it's always very easy to identify who the adversaries are in any kind of relationship you're talking about. So it's very easy for us as teachers who are in the kitchen, who feel in the heat, to be at war with the employer, to be at war with the parents, to be at war with the general public, and they with us, because they perceive us to be enjoying a certain type of living while they are not there. What we as teachers, what we as tutors need to do is you be very vocal where we are, because we're very vocal in social media. You have to bring people to a level of understanding, because unless you live with a teacher, unless you are a teacher, unless you work within the education mainframe in a school, you then understand what it takes to be a teacher. And we need to start to educate, not with bitter words, but to just show, give a little snapshot of what it requires for a teacher to discharge their duties in today's world, as opposed to what it took for us to do our duty pre-COVID. And even that, any teacher would tell you, it is not about getting in front of a classroom, taking a meter rule and pointing to a whiteboard or a blackboard. You have to plan, you have to prepare if you're going to execute that duty. And whereas with other professions, when you down tools at 4 o'clock, your time is yours, you go home, you relax, you stop at the nearest refreshing hub, it's yours. With teachers, you always have to think about, how do I reach little Paul tomorrow because he didn't grasp the lesson yesterday? Right. Yes. What am I going to employ now? What am I going to go home and take from my home as a resource to make it personal for Paul to understand what he missed yesterday? How am I going to project for the new group that I'm going to meet next term? Because they are a different group from the ones I had last school year. So these are the things, unless you don't educate people, they will continue to be bitter because their reality is not your reality, and they perceive you to be sitting on top of this mountain with everything prepared for you without realizing, as a teacher, that is your life. It's your calling, it's your vocation, it's not a job. For you to be an excellent teacher, you have to enjoy what you do, and you have to do it with passion and heart, and you have to take all of the time required to fit those things in. So teachers don't have Sunday evening walks and so. They have Saturday to do chores at home because they have to discharge their duties at home, and they have Saturday evening to sit down and start to craft and design and look for material. So that's what we need to be using our social media platforms, or when we go to our small groups at church or whatever community we're in, to try and bit by bit, bite-sized portions, give them a snapshot of what it takes to really do what you need to do.
Yes, strategy is important, and we will continue to try. We can make it if we try just a little harder. I think we have an in-house or two questions which we'd like to field at this time. Yes?
I like that question. How can we ensure that the lines between our personal and professional lives are not blurred? I don't know that I have the answer for that because as someone who sometimes works from home, I think I have put up an at-work sign on the door that I used to work out of, but my 14-year-old does not recognize, and she says it does not apply to her.
Not applicable.
Yes. So
you just have to be resilient.
You really have to, you need to mentally try and fix that.
Well, remember the heart specialist said self-preservation.
Self-preservation.
So we don't know how to tell you to preserve yourself.
Well, I am more afraid of that 14-year-old than any other body else.
You have company.
I respond well.
You have company. You're not alone. I have the same challenge to face every day. Yes? In-house question. Yes.
Mic check. To Mr. Curtis Toussaint, our handsome, sexy teacher speaker. I have two questions actually.
Okay.
We commend Tutor for all its effort in terms of partnering with external personnel to ensure that there are support systems in place for teachers. My question to you today is, do you believe that more external partnership with NGOs and specialists, especially in strategy and training, would be essential at a time like this for recovery?
Oh,
I give way to your features.
sorry.
We'll allow you to comment after Mrs. Robertson Thomas. Yes, Mr. Tusa.
Okay. Yes, I do. I do agree that, or believe that more partnerships would be vital to the issues that teachers face. If we think about one of the things I'd like to share, if we think about the world and how things have evolved, we had the Ice Age, then we had, the Stone Age, and you had the different ages or phases in which the world would have gone through. And then you also had the Industrial Age or the Industrial Revolution, and then you had the Information Age. We are actually in the age of connectedness, where more and more we are able to identify or able to trace some of the loose connections that really keep us intact or keep us connected to other things, and education is no different. When you consider what the education ecosystem is, a lot of times we think about it from the perspective of teacher, parent, student. And I've seen that triad in many instances, teacher, parent, student. But think about it. The role of education and educators is really preparing a society. Teachers and education is preparing a society. The society is made up of the people. We are dealing with our future leaders while they're very young and they're impressionable. And is it that and I don't think in a scenario like that, we should be bringing less people to the table to help us prepare for what our society or what we intend our society to look like in the future. So from that very, very practical standpoint, we need more people to be involved in what happens in education. We need to be bringing more people to the table, having conversations. You have NGOs that have that are special purpose, for example. So where a teacher might be struggling, let's say you're dealing with a social issue around drugs or abuse or something like that. And while you're doing your best, there are agencies that are tasked solely with dealing with those things. How could we either get the information from them or even bring them into the classroom to share in delivering in an area where they specialize? It is for me, I don't understand. I think gone are the days when we are trying to have a teacher be the specialist at everything. And it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. So bringing more people to the table is also about bringing people with specialized skills in the area that teachers may not have those skills. And I'm not just limiting that to the classroom. Because as I said, there's also a challenge for tutors and organizations to find the agencies that will partner in terms of making the kind of representation you need to make your point. So on the areas of teacher burnout, who are the psychologists or the social worker associations that could come to do something that's comprehensive, something that is compelling in terms of making a case for teachers, and what their challenges have been, what the fallout has been for teachers on a personal level, and how that fallout has impacted education on a bigger scale. So I don't see progress happening in the way that it has happened, that we have approached it before, in terms of and forgive me, it may come across offensive, in terms of thinking that only teachers understand that what teachers' struggles are. If you take that approach, you're not bringing allies to the table. Because you're saying, my needs are so unique and so special, nobody else could understand, nobody else could help me. So then everybody take their hands off. But if you share what they are and you start reaching out with purpose in terms of saying, these are some of the challenges, and we're looking for collaborators, people who have ideas that or people who could help us, collate our ideas in a way that allows us to represent the situation better. Bring more people to the table, gather more allies, to win the war.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toussaint. Yes, one more question from,
I think,
oh, somebody at the head table wanted
yes,
to
Ms. Robertson.
give a comment.
Just to add, that's one of the reasons as well that tutor is part of various bodies. You heard the president in her message to us would have represented Education International and the CUT, the Caribbean Union of Teachers. We also are part of the Joint Trade Union movement. And our president in particular, who is responsible for public relations, would be attending to meetings there. And it doesn't stop there. We have partnered with other teacher unions throughout the world, and we try to get information that can be shared. And we also make sure that we have dialogue with other stakeholders. So we have met with the Primary School Principals Association, the Association of Secondary School Teachers. We have also met with the denominational boards and the NPTA, who are all part of this fight, and that is the reasoning for doing this. And we do also reach out to other social groups to bring to you. We are celebrating the month of the teacher in October, as we did last year as well. Some of what we have on the Sunday school sessions would be bringing people from outside to give us their perspective on how we could move forward. And so we have that understanding that we cannot be we can't be the only person. It's not a one-man thing, two hands clap, and we have to, and we must not ignore that within the teaching service, and tutor also gained recognition in 2019 for the Schedule 3 members. So we do have our social workers, we do have guidance counselors and officers and members of DERE and planning and other members who are not just classroom teachers to bring their skill set and to give us some feedback and advice as to how we should move forward. We need to just start embracing and respecting each other and what we bring to the table so that we have a complete meal and not just have one item that we're trying to digest. So it is good advice to bring in everyone.
So we can safely say that in this resilient mode in which we are, as we continue to seek allies, to fight the fight and to champion our causes as teachers, we are not alone.
We're not.
We are not alone. And I think that that is very encouraging and heartwarming to all of our members and non-members who are tuned in today, that we are not alone, we are resilient, we have allies with us, and they are embracing us and we are embracing them. So it's a reciprocal activity. We take the next in-house question quickly.
Okay, the next question, Mr. Toussaint, has to do with breaking point. If teachers are very passionate, motivated, and they're going beyond the call of duty, however, in the environment that they work, they are faced with so many challenges from administration, and they have sought, external support from tutor, but they feel they are at their breaking point, but they love teaching. They want to make a difference. They want to continue making a difference. What would you advise them to do? Push back, but if they have been pushing back, but they love what they do, they are passionate about their job, they are resilient. However, they feel at a point where they are broken, but they don't want to, resign from teaching. What would be your advice? Thank you.
Okay. Oftentimes I hear the phrase going beyond the call. And that looks different for everybody. One of the things that they say now about, in other areas of work, in other spheres of work, one of the things that they look at as a productivity measure or something to measure performance is the degree to which you require overtime, or the degree to which your day work, the work that you do between your working hours now spills over into your personal life and your private time. And that's something that at large multinationals and bigger corporations, that's something that's frowned upon. But yet still we wear it, or we seek to wear it like a badge of honor, that we're going beyond the call. And what typically that means is that when you talk about going beyond the call, it is often as a result of you doing somebody else's job in some instances, or trying to do a job that you have not been equipped for or prepared to do. So you find that the time that is required to do it, you require more time, you have to move a little bit slower because sometimes you're doing things that you should not be doing, and so you're unsure. And so you take a little bit more time, and that, we all have the same 24 hours. It's a finite day. And if you are trying to do things that are not your responsibility, and this is where some of the pushback could come from, start, as I said, start saying no. That is, and the thing is, some of the things that were trademarks of good workers or good employees in the past, we've come to understand now from organizational behavior and performance management studies, you've come to understand now that those things ultimately erode the quality of work and the efficiency with which that person could continue to perform at that level. So to avoid that burnout, that feeling that, I'm passionate about what I do, but the way that we have been doing it is not sustainable. And so it really requires you sometimes to take a hard stop. Now, what I would say, though, when I talk about taking that hard stop, picture yourself in a vehicle and you must a sudden brakes. You being the person that's applying the brakes, you're mentally prepared for the stop. Everybody else that's in the vehicle, not so prepared. So there's going to be that jerk reaction, and you're going to get some pushback or some negative feedback as a result of you making a sudden stop. But just like driving a vehicle, most times that sudden stop is because you're trying to avoid a bigger crisis. So what I can advise is this: apply the brakes, make the sudden stop, be prepared for the backlash or the negative feedback, but also understand, don't be burdened or don't be too worried about the negative feedback, because once you truly believe that sudden stop is to avoid a bigger crisis, it will be worth it. You see, nobody talks about the accident that didn't happen, Nobody talks about the accident that did not happen. And so it's difficult for people, and it will be difficult for people to appreciate you applying that sudden stop. Because the opposite, though, is if you don't apply the sudden stop, one of the main casualties would be you. So I continue to advocate that part of being resilient is the ability to say no.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tuse. I guess on any count you will die. We take one last question from the electronic platform, and then we have one final in-house question to bring down this morning's segment of question and answers. Is it up on the screen? How can the private enterprise assist or become involved in the recovery of education at this time?
Okay, so with respect to private enterprise, that has to be a contribution of love, basically. There is nothing binding them to give such a support, but if we are all interested in the education of our future, our youths, our community, our life, our country, where we are heading, we shall all see it as part of our role to contribute to such things. So endeavors like we would have approached this technological approach to education. There are some private entities that would have donated devices, assisted with connectivity, things like that. But that is really just a contribution of love, really. It's for all of us within the country to see that this part to reshaping and maintaining, sustaining, and promoting education along this path it's not just for teachers, it's not just for tutors, it's not just for the Ministry of Education. We are all parents, we are all this generation that is projecting a new generation that has to be given all the tools and equipment necessary to make a better, brighter future for Trinidad and Tobago. And that's how we have to look at it.
Yeah. Well said. We continue to try. Last question for the day.
Okay, before I go to the question, I'm a teacher at heart. Some teachers experience moments when they can hardly hold the joy in their hearts. Our heartbeats are dropping. We are navigating technology. When can teachers navigate self-discovery and care when we are told to teach the child another curriculum, but the heads are not listening to those at the heart of recovery? And goes to Mr. Touser. Mr.
Touser.
Sorry, please forgive me. I did not get the first part of your question. Could you mind repeating for me?
Okay, the first part of the question, when can teachers navigate self-discovery and care when we are told to teach the child another curriculum, but the heads, the powers that be, are not listening to those at the heart of recovery?
Okay. I don't have an easy answer for that. What I would simply say is that if I go back to the analogy that I used about applying the brakes previously, I would then answer your question with a question. When can you afford not to engage in self-care? When can you afford not to take care of yourself and still expect to do a good job? So again, as I said, it really has to start with taking stock of your time, understanding who you are, because again, we can't perceive that everybody is alike, and that what I am experiencing at my school or with my students is the same as what somebody else is experiencing with their school and their students. There's a sort of there's a sort of a homogeneous way that we think things operate, that all teachers are like this, or that all students are like this, or that all schools are like this. I'm a parent, and I've navigated 3 secondary schools, 3 primary schools among my children. And I know that the differences between teachers, schools, administrators, everything is, and really it boils down to the individual teacher understanding where they are, understanding their own breaking point, because there's no collective breaking point.
True.
Everybody is going to be unique, and rightfully so. As you said, this is where the fashioning of allies is really critical. And I'm going to address the second part with, talking to administrators about what the needs are. And I'm going to link that to a question that was asked previously about how can the private sector be more involved. The private sector has their hands on the pulse of the productive world or the working world. They understand what are some of the changes that are coming. The private sector understands very much what are some of the new technology needs, the new needs that exist within their various fields. And one of the ways that they have partnered, and I know this happens usually at secondary and at tertiary level, and maybe less so at the primary school level. Once there's an understanding for what is needed, they then put their money into those industries. Think about the energy companies that have continued to support faculties of engineering in tertiary level institutions. Why is that? Because they understand they then make the inputs in tertiary into engineering is also directly related to inputs that they need in their sector. And when we can, I think, if we take a look at what are some of the changes or inquire of the business community, what are some of the changes that are perceived for the next 10, 15 years that we can start making the adjustments for now? Because let me tell you, if we go strictly looking at the dollars and cents of it, Businesses pay taxes based on profit. The taxes that are paid is what government depends on for revenue. If a businessman could make a case or make a claim by saying, the fact that we have not been preparing students for these industries means that it is going to impact my productivity in 20 years, the government has to listen. Because if my productivity is projected to decline over 20 years, the quantum of taxes that I would pay based on my profit will decline. So think about that conversation as opposed to a teacher or a union saying to a government or a minister of education, "Oh, they're not listening to me." You see, telling an administrator or an administration that you're not listening is something that they hear all the time. But when you involve, as I said, the collaborative effort, when you involve the business community that could now say, if you don't listen, this is how it is going to impact everybody. You see, what we have to understand is we have to start showing people how their outputs become part of somebody else's inputs. And where that falls apart, nobody survives.
True.
So I know I didn't answer the first part of your question, give you a pure answer. It was really a question back to you, but I hope that something that I said in my answer, was meaningful.
It does
Thank you.
suffice.
Thank you. I don't know if any other member of the panel would like to make closing remarks on that last question, and any other remarks that you'd like to offer.
Basically, I would say be still and let God. And before COVID, I would advise teachers you sometimes need to take a mental health break. During COVID, you need to take a mental health break. And you know and I know when you need that break. We all know. Don't ignore the signs. Sometimes you just need to stop, put your tools down, and regroup. Because there is no way that you can teach a class from 6 feet under. So, all the going you're going, when stop reach, you don't want to be forced to stop, as Mr. Tuze said, you don't want to be a passenger in the car where the driver going and mash the brakes and you're not prepared. So you take control of the steering wheel, drive your own vehicle, and determine when your stop and brakes will be.
So, aptly said. Thank you again to our feature speaker and for leaving us with the key word, I think, for today, to be resilient. We don't have to try to be resilient. We'll be resilient. We will be resilient. We will be resilient in all that we do. And thank you as well, of course, to all the participants for the questions that were fielded, and I trust that you enjoyed the responses and that you would leave today being a better person as we seek to have allies and be resilient in our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi Applewhite, for presiding over this segment of the program. I now invite back to the lectern Ms. Roxanne Romeo Valentine, who will announce the winners of the St. George's District Staff Representative Award. So before I hand over to Roxanne, I just want to tell teachers, normally when we are online with the students, we will tell them, okay, you can get up, stretch, walk around. Teachers, don't go anywhere. We have a lot of giveaways in store and a lot of awards to present. You might even hear your name. So stick around, and I now pass you over to our chairman.
Thank you very much, Betsy Ann, and I am dealing with this award in my capacity also as a district field officer of St. George East. The St. George East DSRA Award was conceptualized to honor the exceptional service of staff representatives who embody the spirit of trade unionism. We in the St. George East District recognize the valuable contribution that staff representatives make to the strength of the district and to National Tutor. Today, we honor 2 staff representatives who, by their unwavering dedication to serving the tutor members of the St. George's College, uphold the ideals of selfless service. It therefore is my privilege to acknowledge and to pay tribute to the staff representatives, Mr. Anthony Pear and Ms. Donna Trail, the recipients of the St. George East District Staff Representative Association Award for 2021. Right, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Romeo Valentine, and congratulations to the winners of the St. George East District Staff Representatives Award. Teachers, viewers at home, I have a message for you. I was asked to let you know that our tea lady, Miss Karen Green, asked that you get your cup of tea, sip your coffee, munch on your biscuits, and hopefully next year, God's willing, we will all be able to meet face to face once more, where you will be able to avail yourself of all the services of our tea lady. Thank you. Moving right along in our program, I now invite Ms. Rhonda Jones once more, our Teacher of the Year 2019. Again, we have awards. The Young Teacher of the Year Award. Again, teachers, don't go anywhere. Your name may be called. So let's tune in as I pass you over to Ms. Rhonda Jones.
Oh, yes, it's me again. The Young Teacher Award, but look at me. Well, you see how young I am? It's like, this one is for me? Oh boy, okay, all right. I love to share. So let's hear who would be this person who would be the recipient this year for the Young Teacher Award. The Tutor Young Teacher of the Year Award is an honor that is bestowed on a teacher that fits the following criteria. Financial member for at least 2 years. I see some people putting up the hand. 35 years or younger, but the hand's gone down now, they're keeping it here now. Teaching at an ECCE, primary, secondary, or tertiary level. Must be practicing in a school, well, for this one from September 2020 to June 2021. Display outstanding service in culture, education, classrooms, sports, association activities. People get involved, please. This year, the district attracted 4 outstanding nominees, and they are Mr. Cashin Ali of St. Barbara Spiritual Shouter Baptist Primary, Mr. Stefan Bidesi of Hillview College, Mr. Travis Roach of St. Augustine Secondary, Mr. Michelin Taylor of San Juan North Secondary. Come on, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Ding, 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 ding. And the winner, let me dig down the and pull it out. And the winner for this year, yes. So it gives me great pleasure to announce the St. George East Young Teacher of the Year 2021, Mr. Michelin Taylor of the San Juan North Secondary School. So let's find out a little bit about him now. Mr. Taylor is known as the drama teacher extraordinaire Mr. Taylor is truly at the heart of education recovery. He has supported all tutors' call to action, participated enthusiastically in all school tutor-related activities, and empowered his students to rise above each challenge and focus on their creative passions. Yes. This attitude of determination to success, especially in the face of teaching and learning challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, instilled in students under Mr. Taylor's tutelage, would undoubtedly have resulted in his students achieving the inevitable feat of dominating the CAPE 2020 merit list in Unit 2, Performing Arts, Drama, cupping 5 top 10 places. The San Juan North Drama Group has gained numerous honors in acting, music, directing, set and costume designs, and ensemble performances both locally and regionally. It is no surprise that his pass rate for theater arts remains at a steady 100%. Come on, people, I didn't hear you all salute. Hey, come on, 100%. Hey, how much more you can get from that? Nice. We salute Mr. Michelin Taylor for the passion, energy, and enthusiasm that you bring to the teaching profession. The St. George East Young Teacher of the Year 2021 will be receiving, well, we're going to tell him, of course, this lovely plaque from our association. Can you see it? Yes. Can I take it with me? No? Okay. So, congratulations again to the winner of the Young Teacher, Mr. Michelin Taylor. Woo! Thank you so much, everyone. Sorry. Psst. Hello, I just want a little part, sorry. Oh, gosh, sorry about that. Excitement. He also gets a hamper, right, courtesy Mr. Gerard Cruikshank of the Pan American Life Insurance Group. Maybe I wanted to take it. Sorry, sir. Yes. All right, thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rhonda Jones, but don't go too far, don't sit. I need you back at the front. So teachers at home, viewers, friends, supporters, we have organized an exercise for you. Yes, you are not here face to face, but nevertheless, we have a challenge for you. And this aspect of the program is called Teachers Can Spell. Auntie Rhonda, now in the character Auntie Rhonda, is going to take us through all the proceedings for Teachers Can Spell.
Oh, ready? Right, so teachers, get ready. You remember when you see me? Remember that. It's something exciting. Teachers can. For those of you who have been following.
So Auntie Rhonda, I was just reminded, teachers can Google. So let's hope that we would have no one Googling this morning.
We shall see how fast they can Google, because there's a timer and a cowbell for your tail today. Oh, sorry, for you all today. Right? So if they can Google that, I will Google real fast now. Right. So, get ready, as we said. Now you're going to be given a link in a little while, so you need to listen first. This link will be shared with you, and you have to fill out your basic information. after which you have only 6 maybe relatively long words, 13 letters, and so on, 15 letters. Easy, man. Watch me. Teachers be bright like that. If I look at Google, a little too bright. Anyhow, so it's going to be your challenge today to unscramble some words within a certain time. You get like 4 minutes. And when you hear the bell goes, the timer, and then the cowbell, it's time for you to submit. Now, you must get at least 4 to 6 of these correct to qualify. We're looking for 6 persons. We have prizes for 6 of you, so 6 of you will be feeling really happy, right? So don't worry. It's nothing that you cannot do. It's nothing that you cannot do. Are you ready to spell? Are you ready to spell? Yes. Right, so are we ready to share the link? So now let me just tell you how it will be sung with the bell now. And then you're going to hear the little time. Just now. All you have to hear what you know. So all you have to know. Just now, don't share it yet. So when you hear all of these things, nice. Time to submit. Business speaks. No cheating, no Googling. All is smart enough. Look for it. Look for clues. And unscramble these simple words now, man. So, we'll share the link. Ready? One second. Just a minute. Technology at work here. Dee-dee-doo. Think of your words. Think of your words to spell. You could unscramble them. It's coming to you just now. Get ready, get ready. Get ready, get ready. You know it good so. When you could spell. Don't worry. Got it ready? All right. So, so don't worry, we have a link for you. All you have to do is open the link, fill in the information, and using only lowercase or common letters to answer with the unscrambling. So, ready? No. What are you doing? Okay, so I was told that is the link for you to press on. All right, so teachers can spell, yes, Auntie Randall. So, and I'm going to set my timer, and you may begin. The timer is set for 4 minutes. So, we go. Let's see who are the spellers here. Come on. I'm seeing people, oh, what if it's got a hole in their head? Stop holding your head, come on. Okay. Okay, they said, I think they sent it on the chat. No. It will be sent on the chat, I was told. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, Lord. Anyhow, all I can really spell in the meantime. Let me tell you how easy spelling is, eh? Mr. Lee, living up by me, is a farmer. So I just spell Farmer Lee. Hey, hey. Oh, God. All I can spell like me? No way. No way. Not at all. Yes. So we're going. Come, DJ, in the meantime. Bring a little thing now, man. While we waiting, we mustn't waste. Good music, mustn't waste, you know. So, yeah, no. It's always in the head. Music playing in the head. Music playing in the head now. Yes. So are we getting ready? So, all right, I'll have to take up the time and set Kaka rumble all the time, so right. Don't worry, I'll get back all the whole time. Are you ready now? Okay, So DJ, bring a little thing now, man. So while you're waiting, come teachers, let's shake all your legs. Or let's sit down all this time. So get up. Shake your leg, walk around, watch outside, make sure your castle park outside, you know. Right? Call your neighbor out and say, hey, come on. You have spelling, come and help me spell some words here. Come on. Call in, no, don't call in anybody now. I forget it's COVID-19. Social distancing, sorry. All right? Hey. So, oh Lord. It's ready? Only gonna make them really Google the words by. All right, so you press the link, fill out your information. Let me set the timer again quickly. Right, set. All right, and then you unscramble and you set. All right. All right. So I think we are working now.
When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race. From the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, is for a better life in the region, for the woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.
Come on, persons, two of those words are places in Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I'll tell you.
You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going and form a Carifta with a true West Indian flavor. But since Carifta started running, morning, noon, and night all are hearing. It's just money speech, them Prime Minister giving. But I say no set of money, good form a unity. Put up all your people need their identity like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, is for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.
Well, it's happening, you know. We have 3 persons inside already. Come on, people. Spelling is good. Spelling is great. So come on, keep it coming. We have a little time still, man. The timer will go just now, but we have some time.
They moan and they fuss and they say we won, we bet, and they abuse and they cuss and they say this is a threat. Yes, the damn and the blast and they say we hope it ain't true. They won't dare to cancel. We jump up 1972. When they hear they go getting carnival. All masqueraders on heat. When they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning peace on the street. and they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall down on the
Just a bit on the prizes. We have great prizes: perfumes, ladies' handbag, car wash, and other prizes. So your time will be worth it. So come on, use your little grey matter. All right, I was told to give you 1 extra minute. 1 extra minute. One. They're begging for y'all. 1. All right, so we're right. So come on, people. Come on, use the grey matter a little bit. Teachers can spell, come on.
Some of them even say it's the guns on Monaco, so they won't let me play, and they blaming polio. They think they could fool, all we know they better do fast. Polio or no polio, man we won, we must. Mama when they hear, they go get the carnival. All masqueraders on him. Well they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning peace on the street, and they start to jump around, and they start to tumble down, and they fall up on the ground. If you see how they dance, what was so comical in the hits of Bacchanal? Rain comes and wash out Martin Bay. When the news hit the town, the band leaders rail up then. Well, they can't throw we down, cause a lot of money spent. And they know very well, everybody have their minds spent. So they have to try and save us this embarrassment. Mama, when they hear, they go get the carnival. Aye, all masqueraders on him. Well, they didn't care if it was official, but they start turning beats on the street, and they start to jump around.
All right, so listen. Huh? Well, let's see, people are getting it. So why some people saying they're not getting it? We have lots and lots of responses thus far. So, what's the problem? Only one more time to solve it. Only trying to Google. So, I think I'm going to ring my cowbell, because if those persons next time, you all will get a little more time to unscramble. Scramble. Unscramble. Thank you so much. So we see they're coming in. So you all got a little bly, eh? I hope that bly works for you. Right? So come on. But look at the young man. Things rolling in like thunder. That's what we're talking about. Yes. So, come on, I'm loving the responses coming in like that, man. Great and fast. Come on. So teachers can really spell. I know that. Teachers can spell. Yes, and we have the lovely DJ in the house. All right, so we have a thing higher definition. All right, and they're keeping us really, really nice and cozy here today. So it's all about that. So we give them just 30 seconds again and then we close it up completely. Nice. So see how fast you can get that information in. 30 seconds and then we're gonna know how well you can spell. Don't worry, all winners will be contacted with great prizes. Woo! DJ, could you give me I want a song from Let's Get Education from Sparrow. You have that? As we are the heart of education. I know we're getting ready to close up and all of that, but why we just giving them a little blind here? I know you have something really, really wonderful there. Yes. So, and I know you had a grand time, eh? As always, St. George East is a place to be. East. East. Who's the East? Who's the East? Who's the East? East. 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 So come on. Teachers can spell, man. Come on. Yes. Oh, yes. So while we wait there quickly and we're getting ready to close off, I believe. So, we just giving you a little extra, little lanyard, as they say. So, DJ, bring it up a little bit. Hey, we are the heart of the education recovery.
Education,
Hey.
this is the foundation. Our rising population needs sound education to be recognized anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go.
Have your certificate to show. To enjoy any kind of happiness. Knowledge is the key to success. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise, later on in life, you won't catch real hell. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today.
All right, so we are closing the curtain on Teachers Can Spell at this time. So I know, with technology, but those who had the opportunity, it was wonderful for you to give a try and unscramble and spell these words. Remember, you must have 4 and more to win a prize. We have lovely prizes, so we'll contact our winners. Remember, education is the key, the most powerful tool, or powerful weapon, I should say, according to Nelson Mandela. The most powerful weapon. Yes, the most powerful weapon. Education. Yes, to save this world. So, I now turn you over to our MC. I'm not the MC today. Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rhonda Jones. And we have been reading the comments, teachers, and we know that some persons were unable to access the link to take part in that segment. So we do apologize. Yeah, we really, really do, from our hearts. We apologize that we were unable to get to you, to get to everyone, because we received almost 40 replies from teachers. So we are not sure what went wrong where. So thanks to those who took part in the Teachers Can Spell segment. We now want to change it up a bit, and we are going to a financial institution segment. We are going to have a few videos run for you, and teachers, you can take note, take the information, write it down, and make a phone call. So we're going to have a video from ADMED from Maritime, Guardian Group, where we're going to have Ms. Gail Singh and Ms. Nadia Bash as the presenters. We're also going to have a video from Pan American Life, and the presenter here is Mr. Gerard Cruikshank. And one more, which might be also interesting to you, is a video on housing and how to apply. I am not sure if the houses are being given away free, but teachers, please stay where you are, view the videos, and I am sure you will come away with something positive. So we now go to the videos.
You're good to your family, your friends, even those friends too. But when was the last time you were really good to you? And not just like this either. Nothing says being good to yourself than taking care of your health. That's why there's ADMED from Maritime. ADMED covers you for unexpected major medical bills at an affordable rate. Your ADMED coverage includes accident and emergency, approved medical surgeries, hospital diagnostic expenses such as room and board, lab tests, and x-rays, critical illnesses including heart attack, stroke and cancer, and death. Once you're covered, you'll receive your very own ADMED card. If ever there's an accident or emergency, simply visit any of our 10 ADMED accredited hospitals with your ADMED card and receive immediate assistance. Find out more about our ADMED plan by calling us at 674-1617 or contacting your financial advisor today. Taking care of you helps you take better care of everyone else. So get coverage when you need it most with ADMED from Maritime. Strength on your side.
Good day, everyone. It is my great pleasure to briefly address you today at your annual Teachers Convention, even though it's done virtually. My name is Gerald Cruikshank, an agency manager at Pan American Life Insurance based in Arima. My company has been in existence for the past 110 years, operating in over 22 countries, Trinidad and Tobago being one, and many other Caribbean countries as well. We offer top-rated life insurance, as well as group insurance, accident and health insurance, critical illness insurance, cancer insurance, as well as retirement plans and education plans for children for their future education. My company and the agency, the Cruikshank's agency, is very proud to support you once more in your endeavors as true professionals in your field as qualified teachers. On behalf of my senior executive agent, Ms. Barbara Renales, I applaud you for your continuous efforts on a daily basis in trying to help mold the minds of our children, who are the future of our Trinidad Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. As members of Tutor, you continue to do your job with great care and commitment, which is why the award for the Young Teacher of the Year is such a fantastic one, because it exemplifies the young teacher who is very vibrant and passionate, who cares and truly is committed to getting the very best out of their students each day. Whoever the winner is, I just want to say congratulations in advance, and continue to show how much you truly love and care for your students, since I suspect many of them look forward to that from their teachers every single day. Sadly, we cannot all meet in person today like you did in the past, but like the rest of Trinidad and Tobago and the world, COVID-19 has caused us to adapt as a people, so that meetings, workshops, and seminars are now done virtually, which I might add will definitely continue into the foreseeable future because this virus isn't going away anytime soon. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you and please enjoy the rest of your convention. Good evening.
Hello friends, I am no stranger to this convention. Greetings from my team Guardian Life, the Gale Sing Unit. Teachers at the heart of education recovery, and this you are. We commend each and every one of you today on the phenomenal job you continue to do. Against all odds, you make tremendous sacrifices to get our children in a classroom. The Gale Sing Unit is here with you at the heart of your future. While you take care of our children, let us take care of you. Here's our senior advisor, Ms. Nadia Kumara Bach, to share with you about our support for this event.
Thank you, Ms. Singh. Bigger prizes this year, many hampers, a cell phone courtesy GMS phones, and a 3-minute shopping spree at Massey Stores awaits you. For a chance to win, all you have to do is hop on over to our website and click the Tutor Convention banner. If this doesn't work, WhatsApp your name and number. Good luck. I pray God continues to bless you, our teachers, the heart of our education recovery. Thank you.
So teachers, I am sure from the videos, you would have been able to take away something, some bit of information, and the numbers are there, and you can give them a call and maybe get a free house, who knows? We now have a door prize, a giveaway. You may ask yourselves, a door prize, but we are not there. But it's a virtual door prize. This is our invention, a virtual door prize. And this door prize goes to the first teacher to register for today's convention. I don't have a drum roll. Congratulations to Miss Karen Green, the first person to register for our convention today. For those of you who don't know, that's our tea lady. Yes? At this time, I would like to give some good news. Ms. Green has decided to pass her winning prize to the person who, no, Ms. Canford, not the person who arrived first here on location, but the person who registered second for the convention. So we are talking about seconds apart. So I'm guessing Ms. Green just pressed the submit button just before Mr. Estrofil Ali Aziz. He's a teacher, primary 1 at the Five Rivers Islamia TIA. We have your number, sir, and we are going to give you a call to collect your door prize, your virtual door prize. Teachers, viewers at home, supporters, friends, well-wishers. Sadly, we have come to the end of our program for today. But of course, before we end, we must say thank you. And I would now hand the mic over to Mr. Kofi Applewhite, who will give the vote of thanks.
Just by way of announcement, the PALIG representative who usually graces us with her presence wishes to inform the participants today that one prize will be given to the Young Teacher of the Year award coming from PALIG, and PALIG is also giving a door prize. Mrs. Barbara Renales will contact the successful door prize entrant and make the necessary arrangements for the collecting of your prize, likewise the Young Teacher of the Year. We also have a door prize coming from our third Vice President, Mr. Lihim. He will also be giving a door prize, and when that person is selected, we will contact you and make the necessary arrangements for the collection of your token. And also we have some other prizes coming from an executive member of the district and some other persons who deemed it prudent to make financial or tangible rather contributions to participants today. For those of you who are tuned in to us, we are glad that you did, and I just would like to inform you in all earnest that there is a rhapsody of emotions coming from this room that has been transformed into a live studio. Our theme today is a very apt one in the environment in which we are called upon to function. Teachers, the heart of education recovery. In breaking with convention, I've realized that it would be very difficult for me to identify every individual and the contribution that the person or persons would have made in a very sterling manner to ensure that today's activity was a success. Words are but lame vehicles to adequately express our heartfelt gratitude to the conception of a most befitting theme. Our hearts are glad, our minds have been renewed, and our spirits are refreshed as we have been reinvigorated to continue giving ourselves unreservedly in the vineyard of education. The success, failures, and all other emotions experienced and expressed today could have only been made possible because of the sterling, conscientious, pure, and unrelenting desire and determination of the collective resources of all members of St. George East Executive, as well as those who have consistently and faithfully embraced the ethos of our great district. To every individual and corporate entity who would have contributed tangibly and intangibly, who would have been monetarily rewarded, and who would have volunteered and used all that you had with relentless passion, from the inner recesses of our being, our hearts resoundingly resonate in varying throbs and vernaculars. Danke, Asanti, Dhanyavad, Ji, Merci, Gracias. I told you there's a rhapsody of emotions in the room, you know, so agradecido. In English, we say thank you. In Trinidad, for want of the use of the local parlance, we say thanks.
Thank you once more, Mr. Kofi Applewhite. So we have, as we wind down, we have 4 videos to show you. And the last video, as we normally do at our conventions when we are face-to-face, we socialize after. And we have planned for you an after party where our 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 Soca Monarch winner will bring the curtain down this evening. Teachers, viewers, friends, well-wishers, wherever you are, we thank you for your time today supporting the St. George East District Convention. We look forward to seeing you face-to-face next year, God's willing. I now invite all of you to stand, even at home, as we sing the tutors' anthem, who is going to be led by Miss So as we remain with protocol, we will come around to sing the anthem social distance, masks on. At home, you can sing lustily without your masks. Mr. DG.
Are we getting the upbeat one? Are we having the upbeat one? In a world so true, teaching, caring, molding, as we alone can do. All the doctors and lawyers, these are drop of soul. Now the work of teachers, beyond teaching must go. We know that love unites. We will never grow cold in the service of our school. Our needs must be met and our status improved. We will never grow cold. Take pictures while I don't want to grow. For us teachers, it's a simple thing, promoting their welfare, regardless of the pay. Professionalism, concerted action too, giving all young charges their just and rightful due. We know that love unites. We will never grow cold in the service of our school. Yet our needs must be met and our status improved. We will never grow cold or tutor and our school. 'Cause of the past, our hearts go out to you. We are carrying the fight as you want us to do. Teachers of tomorrow, this we entrust to you. Whatever you may do, to your tutor be true. We know that love unites. We will never grow cold in the service of our school. Yet our needs must be met and our status improved. We will never grow cold for tutor and our school.
3 cheers for tutor. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip hip.
Hooray!
East, east, east.
Just not a video.
serene walkable park or the gated sanctuary of El Vista Gardens. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, indoor laundry and private parking. Starting at 1.275 million, home is digital. Home is where you can foster new memories. Home is where you can rejuvenate. Home is where love is. Home is a peace of mind. Home is a house with land to expand. Home is is at the serene Wakano Park or the gated sanctuary of Ella Vista Gardens. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, indoor laundry and private parking. Starting at 1.275 million, home is DG Homes, Sangre Grande. 691-5659, 721-9186 or 379-8990. DG Homes, modern and luxurious living for all.
But they are here, we don't want them to not see.
Find peace anywhere you come from. Coulda up, you coulda down. Blessings on my nation. Ooh, this city can't hold me. My vibe's too high, and my heart it told me jump right now. You will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when I done, they gon' know the Music sweet, music sweet. The one who invented music has got to be terrific, got to be the one who created the sun and the trees, rivers and seas. Music fills the world with happiness, plenty sweetness and togetherness. Music have no friends or enemies. Everybody put dingole, 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 dingole. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up when music plays. Old lady, young baby, everybody put dingole, 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 dingole. Melodies, harmonies, music in the atmosphere, sweet music is everywhere, even in the park, in the dark, a blind man can find a melody. Music fills the world with happiness, plenty sweetness and togetherness. Music have no friends or enemies. Everybody put dingole, dingole, oh yeah, dingole, dingole, dingole. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up when music plays. Old lady, young baby, everybody put dingole, 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 ay, 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 ay. No, 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 no. Fantasy, energy. You don't need a bulldozer to become a composer. Every little part or a talk may help to construct a melody. Aye, aye, aye. Music fills the world with happiness, plenty sweetness and togetherness. Music have no friends or enemies. Everybody put dingole, 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 dingole. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up when music plays. Old lady, You better wake up. I need a jet plane to take me non-stop. I can't stay in New York City when there's sunshine and fun in my country. Lions is the place with the jamming, with Cali and Charlie's roots clashing. Everyone happy partying, and I'm freezing in Brooklyn. Darling, Lauren, don't cry, you're leaving. I can't miss this jamming, with all them steel band beating, and no man background shaking. If the butt bite your baby, then you could come and join me inside Caselli's steel band, jamming with some man woman. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Lauren, girl, take it easy. I don't mean to hurt you, baby. The coldness making me shiver, and back home it hot like fire. That is why I said the next jet plane must take me to Port of Spain, where all my fans are waiting, preparing for Juve morning. Darling, Lauren, don't cry, you're leaving. I can't miss this jamming, with all them steel band beating, and no man background shaking. If the buck bite your baby, then you could come and join me inside Caselli's steel band, jamming with some man woman. Babe, my mind is made up. Airport Kennedy would be my next stop.
Greetings, blessings. My name is Voice, and I'm here to welcome each and every one of you to the Safe and Sound, the at-home concert series, right? Blessings to the music app, Digicel, the vibes at Voice, you grow your feeling. You say good vibes, you say good energy. And to each and every one of you looking at this right now, we see more success, more prosperity, and most importantly, peace of mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. True story. I hear they say what don't kill only make you stronger now. But Lord, I can't take the dirty ways. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I on money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, hear me loud and clear. Don't call me. I don't want them people call me. 'Cause I on a different vibes, and you have some different vibes. Whoa. Safe after is my peace of mind. Tell the devil you look, but you ain't find me. I'm not where I really want to be. So please don't try and heavy me. 'Cause 2020 was pressure and day. So I ain't losing no sleep. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I on money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, hear me loud and clear. I don't want them people call me. 'Cause I toxic and complacent. We on two different wavelengths. So I said this year we can't link. No, no, no. Cause 2020 was pressure a day. So I ain't losing no sleep. I don't know if you ain't noticed, but I on money and progress. If you have ulterior motives, don't call me. I don't want them people call me. Cause they on a different vibes, and you want some different vibes. Whoa, whoa. And anyway I see them passing, it's a big way. No long talk, no small talk. Keep your physical distance. We can't talk. I hear they say what you kill only makes you so. But Lord, I can't take the dirty ways. Can't take the dirty ways. He say give thanks for life, health and strength. Team Music Up Digicel. It's a pleasure to be here. And I want you to know this concert is far from finished. Sing with me. I say na na na. I say na na. I say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. I say na na. I say na 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 na. Listen. I never had it easy for the brands and the bling and the expensive things on. Never had the money, never had nice living. And mama said, oh, you could have it all. Just work hard for yours. I said, mama, you know I'll work hard for sure. No judge, I'm blessing with the opportunity to fly country to country. No, I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. I could see only thing I never see. They say this hour, it man so lucky. I thank me father and the family. No bad mind boy, they could stop me. Every show I'm smiling, cause trust me, life's so lovely. And I'm far from finished, and I can't believe. See, I'm far from finished, boy. Love the life that's I live in, yeah. Enough time and I sit down and I can't believe. Say nana, I say nana, I say nana, nana. Why, I say na 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 na. Forever thankful for doubters in the past and the people who laughed, boy. Forever grateful for all the times I failed. And Papa say, oh son, you can't give up. What's for you is for you. Well, I say, Papa, you know I could never stop, no. No judge, I'm not seeing the opportunity to fly country to country. No, I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. No, I could see only thing I never see. They say this how I eat man. But I thank the father and the family. Why yeah, give music, everybody sing with me, yeah. And I'm far from finished. And I can't believe, no. See, I'm far from finished, boy. Love the life that's I live in, yeah. Enough time when I sit down and I can't believe. I say, na 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 na. I say, na na na. See, I'm far from finished, boy. And I can't believe it, no. See, I'm far from love the life that I live in, yeah. Anybody here grateful for life? Anybody here grateful for health, for strength, for family? See me? Thank God I'm alive and well. Thank God I'm alive and well. Bad mind, I don't know, send you, but tell them you will see me. You see me, na 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 na. Envious people, I beg you please, I beg you please, beg you please, oh. Don't see me, na na. Talk the things, and you say talk the things, just like them, I don't want to see my people. I say jealousy and grudges and sin. Talk the things and mercy. They say talk the things, some of them just want easy living. As success rich, they watching you, but you wanna show out. You can't talk to me. God, your angels watch over me. Every morning I kneel down and pray. Yeah. You wanna show out. No bad company could take away what you give to me. Everybody put up your hands, let me see. Bad mind, I don't know, send you, but tell them you ain't see me. You ain't see me, na 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 na. You ain't see me. Envious people, I beg you please, I beg you please, I beg you please, oh, I beg you please. Don't see me, na na. Will everybody put your hand in the air? I said, y'all have a big plan for where? For where? Yeah. Will everybody put your see everything I have, I work for it. And everything I have, them benefits. No matter try stop my shine. I'm gifted by the Most High. So anybody here alive and well? So anybody here alive and well? Thank God we alive and well. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Da, 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 da. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the official dancing segment, right? Rock back just now, we had a little vibe, but now it's time to dance. So it's very simple. Just get off your couch, just get off your chair, and you know what to do. Dance in your living room. Take a dance in your living room. Full of vibe in your living room. We full of vibe in your living room. Start to wine in your living room. Start to smile in your living room. All the beautiful ladies looking at us right now, yeah, man. I say you full up my heart with meaning. I just have to say what I'm thinking. I honestly feel like I'm dreaming. I shouldn't say too much and confuse it. You just have to know you do it. I'm feeling so good I must share it. So for those who in love and they feel it, yes, put your hands in the air. All who I love to share. We jumping like we don't care. Cause we full of vibe. I say put your hands in the air. All who I love to share. We jumping like we don't care. Cause we full of vibe. If you're full of vibe right now, just dance the man, just full of vibe now. So be full of vibe, yeah. So be full of vibe, yeah. March, talk to them. I get in a feeling down in my belly. Oh yes, brace up yourself because I have so much things to say. And baby, I can text and talk to you all day. And all the independent ladies, I say you full up my heart with meaning. I just have to say what I'm thinking. I honestly feel like I'm dreaming. I shouldn't say too much and confuse it. You just have to know when you do it. I'm feeling so good I must share it. So for those who in love and they feel it, yes, put your hands in the air. All who I love to share. We jumping like we don't care. Cause we full of vibe, yeah. Put your hands in the air. All who I love to share. for you. You done dancing already? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, man. Blood in my eyes, oh man, you make me cry. Never you hurt me, never you tell no lies. You are the woman of my dreams, gal. Don't even know what you're saying me. Girl, I wanna spend my life with you. No matter how I'm busy, I'll make time for you. Set you take content, man, I write for you. Whenever stopping why you why, you'll get that for two. I love you for you, you never pressure me. Girl, I swear you were sent for me. And I was good without you, what you made me, you better me. You give me the melodies. You have me dancing away. Now I'm dancing away. Your love just makes me feel. You make me feel, you make me just dancing away. You have me dancing away. This thing just makes me feel. You make me feel. Ay, ay, yeah. Oh my goodness. Ay, ay, yeah. Ay, ay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ay, ay, yeah. I'm your guide if ever you lose your sight. I'm your life if ever you need mine. You are the woman of my dreams, Callie. Don't even know what you're saying me. Girl, I wanna give my time to you. Every morning I will vibe with you. Healthy conversation about life with you. I wanna spend everything, every dime on you. But you tell me now, you say build apartments and no buy no car. You say invest the rest, build an empire. When I don't give back to who needed more. Girl, I love you. I love you. Your love just makes me feel. You make me feel. You make me just dancing away. You have me dancing away. This thing just makes me feel. You make me feel. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, 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 yes. Give me a moment to burn out all wicked people, all bad mind people, all envious people, all jealous people, all grudgeful people, all deceitful people. The music up. Hear my question. Tell me what they're fighting for. So what they're killing for, Lord. So we don't need no more now. Tell them wicked people, fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. But Lord, I said this is the year for love. Sing. Fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Say little boy, you ain't bad at all. Another one just. Why you beat your chest and smile? Say you is a madman. Another young boy fall. You sold carrots that night. Oh, you is a bad man. Bad man is a man who does and protect the by any means. What? You ain't no bad man, boy, now. Everybody right now, put your right hands up in the air. Put your right hand up in the air. Give me a wave. Give me a wave. Give me a wave. Whoa. Sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people from wicked and evil. Sit down, rock back. Big man, look for a walk. You're too damn evil. If you distress my people, then fire go burn. Fire go burn them. But Lord, I said this is the year for love. Sing. Fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Oh. Say little boy, you ain't bad at all. Tell me what they're fighting. Say what they're killing for, Lord. So we don't need no more. So tell me what they're fighting for. Say what they're killing for. Simple instructions. Very simple. Anything I say, you say fire. Very simple. Anything I say, you say. You sound good. Anything I say, you say. Lovely. Lovely. You get it already. Hear me? All bad mind people fire. Envious people fire. All deceitful people fire. All them nasty people fire. All them wicked people fire. All them bad mind people who don't like the Caribbean people fire. Fire. Tell me what they're fighting for. So what they're killing for, Lord. So we don't need no more, no. Tell them wicked people fire. Fire go one day. But Lord, I said this is the year for love. Say, fire go one day. Fire go one day. Whoa. So little boy, you went better. That was alright. That was okay. But we could do better than that, right? We could do better than that, of course. So I'm going again. Anything I say, you say fire. Anything I say, you say fire. Anything I say, you say. Hear me? All bad mind people fire. Envious people. All deceitful people. All them dirty people. All them wicked people. All them grudgeful people. Who don't like Trinbagonian people. Fire. Fire. Tell me what they're fighting for. Say what they're killing for. Why? Why? Tell them wicked people. Say yeah, 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 yeah. Say yeah, 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 yeah. Y'all, this is the Bacchanal segment. Let me take off my sheet. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell no liar. I ready to jam on something. I tell no lie. I miss the days of the pumping, boy. But I refuse to let this stop me, no. No, I go bet while I inside. Can't see my demise, no. Look beyond them in the sky. Oh, yeah. Say soca is life, Lord. So I go jump around with no bad. Yes. Watch how I've been fun with no bad day. Glad I don't junkie already. Ready. Turn the soca up cause I'm ready, yeah. By any means. Go jump up, wave up. Look and rip the neighbors. Already to turn this place up there, yeah. Go jump up, wave up. So long I ain't famous. Already to turn this. Listen, I'm missing the people. I'm missing the season. Vetting without reason. I'm missing the feeling. Soca is my healing. So now when I'm streaming, yeah, yeah. Boy, boy, boy. Can't see my demise, no. Look me and them in the skies. Give me a wave like so. Cause soca is life, Lord. So I go jump around with nobody. Watch how I've been fun with nobody. Lad, I don't junkie already. Ready. Turn the soca up cause I'm ready, yeah. By any means. Go jump up, wave up. Look and rip the neighbors. Already to turn this place up there. Go jump up. So long I ain't fed must make up. Already to turn this. More tune. Let me go, let me go, let me go. Let me go, let me go, let me go. Let me go, let me go, let me go. Whoa. See anywhere you see me there. See anywhere you see me there. See anywhere you see me there. A full squad there with me. And anywhere we there, is woman in me bed. Oh yes. Whoa. And if you want find me, alright, tidy. Woman in me favor. Woman in me favor. Everybody right now. All you, give me a wave. Give me a wave. Hand up there, you can't stop me. I'm jamming on somebody. Oh yeah. I know they want to wine, you know. Hand up there, you can't stop me. Jamming on somebody, woman, yeah. Listen, I see a police passing. I don't know what she thinking. Voicey and them, they crazy. She take out she phone and call it. I don't know what she's saying. Carry them people mad. But we just love the fed, let me fed, let me fed, let me fed. So we fed in with no regrets. We come out to fed, let me fed, let me fed. So we live in here soaking wet, yeah. See anywhere you see me there. like this. Say we do not care what they think, nah. Lord, we ain't watching nobody thinks. We ain't watching. Whoa, we just love the fed, let me fed, let me fed, let me fed, let me fed, and it went glory. We come out of fed, come out of fed. So we live in here, soaking in wet, yeah. See anyway, you see me there. The music right there. And anyway, we there. There's someone in me. Yeah. And if you want to find me, right by the girl there. Woman in me favor. Woman in me favor. Woman in me. Let me go, let me go. Hand up there, you guess up me. Jamming on some. Jamming on some. Hand up there, you guess up me. Jamming on some. Jamming on some. We say more life, more everything. Anybody celebrating a birthday right now? On behalf of the music app Digicel, happy birthday. Enjoy it. Have a time. You see me, boy? I so grateful. I so grateful. Let me go. From your wake up this morning, you say, yeah, yeah. From your wake up this morning, whoa, whoa, whoa. Sing with me, watch out, Jaja. Give me love and life now. Everywhere is vibes now. Whoa, I say, watch out, Jaja. Bring woman so nice now. What more could I ask for? Beside on one in the front, take a go down and walk up she waist and get on. Wine till she body can't wind up no more. Life is short and tomorrow no short, so I live it like. Whoa, drinks in me honor. Jump up and where was the plan? Just the one girl with the man, yeah. Cause it ain't so sweet. Sometimes I feel like, sometimes I feel. Cause it ain't so sweet. It's so sweet. Sometimes I feel like I don't wanna leave. Because right now I feel like a jam down. I feel good. I want to hold on a bumper. Hold on, I wanna hold. Yeah. Whoa. I want to hold on a bumper. Sometimes I wonder, yeah, where I gonna be when this time is over. And sometimes I wonder, yeah, how life would I be if we didn't have soca? Cause I love to see the girl and them go down and walk up there with sun get on and wine till their body can't wind up no more. Life is short and tomorrow no short, so I live it like it's my last. Whoa, drinks in me on and now. Jump up and where was the plan now? Just love and girl with the man, yeah. Cause it ain't so sweet. Sometimes I feel like, sometimes I feel, cause it ain't so sweet. It's so sweet. Sometimes I feel like I don't wanna leave. No, because right now I feel like a jam down. I feel good. I want to hold. Oh Lord, I wanna hold. Yeah. Whoa. I want to hold on a bumper right now. One gets on. Play the chords. Play the chords right here. This is Trinidad and Tobago. The place of niceness, the place of bacchanal, the place of fun. Listen, dear promoter, Lord. You see that trust in there? You see that curtain in there? We don't need your fancy stage. Once that Trinity reaching your fete is nice. Boy, hands in the sky, we bring the vibe. Once you reach in your fete is niceness. Boy, they can't deny we bring the vibe. And I don't mean to be bossy, but they can't party like at all. What's romance so goddamn? But for sure at Trinity, they can't party like no matter time or day, we can. Oh gosh, oh jam, feel like you're any sweetest woman. The sweetest, oh Lord, mama. Togetherness and the love, it's so strong. Oh Lord, sing with me, Lord, we don't care. This kind of energy, Lord, it rain. Watch how every hand up in the air. Niceness. They can't deny we bring the vibe. And I don't mean to be bossy, but they can't party like we. Yes. What's from and soca them? For sure at Trinidad. They can't party like we. Take me to the bridge. Yeah, man. You see that truss in there? You see that curtain there? You see all of that farfule, what they love to have on display. You see that pyro there? No matter time or day, we could start it anyway. Bless up. My name is Voice. Blessings to the music captain to Giselle. Once you reach anyway, it's niceness, boys, niceness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of Safe and Song Stay at Home Concert Series, powered by Digicel and the Music app, right? I'm gonna do the song a little different for you all. Voice was Ways Pandemonium. It's a different vibe, right? Blessings. All of me years of my life that I play in Mars, I never see this. Only while thinking I dey in charge, boy, I never see this. His rocks there, his hands there, his oil there, his girl there, his mask there. Watch how everybody hugging some. It look like pandemonium. Oh. Savannah to the stadium. Today's a shine now. We on the line now. Well, it's we time now. Lord, it look like pandemonium. Oh. Oh, 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 oh. Start to run now. Start to run, yeah. Throw everything up in the air, the air, the air. And them in the air. Fling everything up in the air. He's a riot in here, oh Lord. Man, I hope they could take this. He's a riot in here. It's tree in the making. Yeah, the whole place turn up. Watch how it burn up. Watch how it turn up. Whole place burn up. Safe and Song burn up. Digicel. I leave from work and just so end up Nimas. Boy. Long chain dragging, nobody full of oil. His job there, his hands there, his gal there, his mask there, his love there. Watch how everybody hugging some.